Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. I'm very excited to talk with you today. The clicker works. I'm Svanika, as you just heard. I'm one of the co-founders and CEO at rePurpose Global. And I'm going to be standing in front of you for about 10 minutes today. And in those 10 minutes, over 12 million pounds of plastic will be created. Less than 9% of that actually gets recycled. The rest gets landfilled, leaks into nature, devastating entire ecosystems. But what actually happens to it? Where does it go? Why is it so complicated? Well, the thing is, recycling is expensive. And importantly, not all plastic can be recycled. And so in a lot of cases, the waste that we create here in the global north gets put on a ship and sent halfway across the world to places like Vietnam, Malaysia, Cambodia, Somalia, out of sight, but not out of trouble. And this was about 5 years ago. I was in college, I was in undergrad, and my co-founders and I were really intrigued by this problem. And we set out on a research trip to understand the global trash economy. And our travels took us from landfill to landfill, from dump site to dump site, from Asia to Africa to South America. And a common pattern emerged. In the absence of comprehensive waste management infrastructure, there had risen an unregulated, exploitative, corrupt, informal waste sector that today employs millions of people, tens of millions of people, from some of the most impoverished communities across the world. Our plastic crisis has created a humanitarian catastrophe. And the poverty of this unseen workforce, which is often cyclical and intergenerational, makes them especially vulnerable to exploitation. And I still remember some of those very first research interviews that we did. This was Mumbai in the monsoons, and we were in Devnar, one of Asia's largest landfills. And I still remember that feeling, entering that landfill, being in the middle of it, and then seeing the towers of waste 30, 40, 50 feet rising up above me, as though these towers were merging into the skyline of the city of Mumbai, as though the city was being consumed by its own waste. And at this landfill, today, there are hundreds of people who work within it. And the majority of them are informal and have no sort of regulatory protection. And I remember meeting this one young lady who had been picking waste at that landfill since she was just 4 years old. And she had been addicted to drugs and alcohol since she was just 9. Because being high was the only way to get through her day, to get through her revulsion to handling rotting garbage. Her sister had lost one of her legs at one of the many fires in the very same landfill. These are not isolated horror stories that we get to walk away from. These are the lived experiences of tens of millions of people, of entire communities who bear the burden of our rampant consumption. We cannot turn a blind eye anymore. So what do? Well, we believe that the solutions also lie within the very same community. There are hundreds of thousands of incredible innovators armed with decades of experience who have all of the right ideas, some of whom we see at this conference here today. But unfortunately, they have not been able to scale as much as we would like them to. Not because their ideas don't work, but because all of them lack access to one crucial ingredient: capital, money. Recent research by the Arizona State University shows that there's been more funding put into WeWork, the co-working space startup, than all of the recycling and waste management space in the last 25 years. We as a society are clearly not giving enough attention to this issue. And so we created rePurpose Global, a comprehensive plastic action platform designed to help brands, the private sector, identify, finance, and scale up solutions that are solving the global plastic waste crisis. And we made a promise that every single rePurpose Global project would facilitate intersectional progress, cleaning up our environment while simultaneously bringing along the communities that live within it. This is Kerala, India. We work with a local municipality to bring door-to-door waste collection to over 100,000 households. This project keeps over 12 million pounds of plastic away from the Indian Ocean every single year and has created hundreds of new jobs. This is Bogota, Colombia. We work with a predominantly all-female waste worker cooperative to incentivize the collection of no or low-value multi-laminate flexible packaging and upcycle it into eco-wood, into bricks that are then used for low-income housing and construction, oftentimes creating houses for the workers themselves. rePurpose Global is now keeping away over 30 million pounds of plastic away from nature every single year across 8 countries in Asia, Africa, and South America. And in doing so, we have been able to increase incomes and formalize jobs for over 1,000 workers, bringing in social security, health insurance, all of the benefits of having a formal, stable job. We have also been able to bring dignified access to waste management as a basic human right to over 1 million people for the very first time. We can do this. The plastic crisis created a humanitarian catastrophe, yes, true. So the plastic solution has the obligation, the opportunity to uplift the lives of millions of people while simultaneously safeguarding this beautiful planet. Thank you. And just as a quick aside, because I do have a couple of minutes remaining, I thought I'd introduce you to one of the new initiatives that we'd started at rePurpose last year called the Plastic Reality Project. It is an immersive experience where we try to take the private sector, decision makers, brand owners, really anyone invested in the plastic crisis over to the realities to understand the complexities on the ground. We have different sessions running in South America, Africa, and Asia. But the goal is to give you a better understanding of what is actually happening on the ground so you can create stronger, more comprehensive, layered ESG roadmaps for your companies and for your organizations as well. So I'll just leave you today with a quick video that shows a little bit about the Plastic Reality Project. And if you're interested, please do reach out to me, and I'll be happy to sort of send you an invite. Thank you.
Getting to observe the results of our consumption and see it firsthand is striking.
Only 9% of plastic that's being produced and recycled today. That means 10 million tons of plastic ends up in the ocean.
You can read about it, you can see statistics, numbers, and get alarmed. But this is a whole other level of reality.
Early on in the journey of growing rePurpose Global, we realize only thousands of decision makers hold the keys to ending plastic waste once and for all. And that's why we decided to create the Plastic Reality Project, a first-of-its-kind initiative dedicated to arming corporate leaders and environmental practitioners with the knowledge they need to catalyze impact and accelerate our fight against the plastic epidemic.
Today we're at a material recovery facility outside of Kozhikode in the state of Kerala, India. It's monumental, the amount of tonnage and the amount of work that we see all the workers here do. It's mostly women that work here.
The idea of this facility is to actually manage the dry waste, which is almost around 35% of the household waste composition in India.
We got to actually see a facility where waste workers have actually been trained and recruited to deal with the waste.
The speed that they're able to sort the garbage was phenomenal. I was amazed.
We were watching some of the waste warriors open up the bags and looking at the packaging. Funny enough, I saw the lady picked up a purple carton. I thought to myself, I know this purple. It's definitely one of our products. I'd say, well, we were basically lost for words.
It's about telling the brands that you need to be responsible for the plastic that you put in the environment. So we need to pick it up, and it costs you something.
As a plastic action coalition, we at rePurpose have supported hundreds of global companies and thousands of innovators in their efforts towards reducing plastic waste.
We create this problem as brand owners, so I think the least we can do is to be a part of the solution.
The facilitators for the project have done a great job of providing activities and spaces to really cement the experiences and the emotions that we've had this week.
Not only getting to see the solution up close, but getting to speak with people, hear their stories, to sort waste ourselves.
This was just an amazing opportunity to be able to learn on the ground alongside some experts in the field, some passionate people who care as much as we do, and the ability to take some solutions back to work with my industry.
Together, we can reduce waste, revive lives, and restore nature's balance.